Okay, in this video, I'm going to discuss the law of cosines. And we've spent a lot of time this week practicing our law of sines, and there are occasions where we can't use the law of sines, so we have to utilize the law of cosines, which the law of cosines is the following formula. And again, it can be written in multiple ways, but it is a squared plus b squared plus c squared. So a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of A. Okay, so that would be if I were attempting here to find A. If I'm attempting to find B, again, I'll write each of them. So B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine of B. And if we're finding C, it'd be C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AC cosine of C. Now, again, these formulas can be manipulated to be able to find the angle. For example, if I wanted to find angle A, I could take that initial formula, A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A. I could take that and I could get A by itself, so I could say A squared minus B squared minus C squared, all divided by negative 2bc is equal to the cosine of A. Well, if I'm getting A by itself, A would then be the inverse cosine of A squared minus B squared minus C squared all over negative 2bc. And that would give me angle A. So, as I said, there are many ways to manipulate the formulas depending on what it is you're trying to find in the triangles. Let's take a look at an example here. Um, so if, let's say I have the following information. So we have the following triangle, and we've got B, A, C, little c is 7, little a is 5, and B is 70. So let's say here we just want to find um, the value of, let's say, B. Again, this is a situation where we have side, angle, side. So you think about your law of sines. We can't really set up the law of sines because we don't have two pieces of information, an angle and a side, that kind of go together. So we have to utilize the law of cosine. So I'm going to say B squared is equal to A squared, which is, we'll say 5 squared, plus C squared, which is 7 squared, minus 2 times A, which is 5, times C, which is 7, and then times the cosine of B, which is cosine of 70. Okay, so here's kind of what we've got at this point. Now, if we go ahead and kind of work through this, B squared is equal to 25 plus 49, minus, if I multiply this together, it's going to be minus 70, and the cosine of 70. I'm going to go ahead and put this into my calculator here. So as I put this into my calculator, I've got, let me clear this out here real briefly. We got a lot of information there. So we're going to go 25 plus 49, enter. So that's 74. I'm going to go ahead and do this over here. So I'm going to do the cosine of 70. I'm going to multiply that times negative 70. So times negative 70 gives me a negative 23.94. Now I'm going to take that 74. So 74 minus, I'm going to go up here, and we're going to subtract that. And that's going to give us, well, actually, it was already negative, so we didn't want to subtract it there, so I messed that up. So let's go back up here. I'm going to retype it in. So 74, and again, I'm going to go ahead and put in the negative and hit enter. Oops. 74 plus, I'm going to go ahead and put it in parentheses. Let's do that. And hit enter. Okay, so that gives us b squared is 50.058. And then again, I'm just going to write that out, but I'm going to go ahead and do the square root of that. So square root, and we're going to put the answer in. That gives me 7.07. So b is, if we round to the nearest, let's go take it out 3 places, 7.075 is going to be my length here of my b value in this triangle. Okay. Now, if I go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and find the value of angle A. So in this case, well, let's go ahead and find C. We'll find C here this time. So I know that C squared is 7, or 7 squared, so that's 49 equals, and A squared is going to be 25, that's 5 squared, plus B squared, well, B squared now is the 7, which is actually the 50.058, which again I can put into my calculator here in just a second. It's already in my calculator. And then minus 2, and then we know that A is 5 and C is 7. Again, I'm doing a bad job here writing this down. So, and then cosine, and as I said, we're finding C, so the cosine of C. So if I put this into my calculator here, go through this process, I'm going to do 49 minus 25. I'm going to also subtract the 50.058, which that's already in my calculator. So, so we get 24. And I'm going to subtract again the 50. Hit enter. Now I'm going to divide that by the negative 70. So divide by negative 70. And then we're going to do the inverse cosine. So second, and then the answer gets me 68.14. And I'm going to go ahead then and change that to degrees, minutes, and seconds. And that gets me 68 degrees and 8 minutes. So C, 68 degrees, 8 minutes. Actually, I'm going to round that up to 9 minutes. And then to find angle A, I can then just go ahead and do 70 plus the 68.9, which I got here. So I already got that in there. So 70 plus, go up and enter, hit enter again. So 138. And so I'm going to do 180 minus that. Go up and enter. It gives me 41.85, and then I'm going to do degrees, minutes, and seconds. So So 41 degrees, 51 minutes. So angle A, 41 degrees, 51 minutes.